And Nancy Pelosi has made history as the first and only female Speaker of the House, with her career in Congress spanning nearly 4 decades. Now at 86 years old, she's become one of the most recognizable and powerful figures in American politics, shepherding passage of a number of landmark bills, from the Affordable Care Act to the American Rescue Plan. She's also become a favorite target of Republicans, including President Trump. Yesterday, you may have noticed I wasn't hosting this show. I was actually in attendance as her career was celebrated in her home state of Maryland. And in an MS Now exclusive, the former speaker opened up to me for a wide-ranging interview, from the state of Congress to patching up her rift with President Biden and, of course, the upcoming midterm elections. And we will come to Biden in just a moment, but first, ahead of the 2028 election, I asked about the women who have run for that nation's highest office. Watch what she told me. I hear a lot of chatter going into 2028 about, oh, Democrats can't have a female nominee. Do you think that that is fair?
No, I don't. I think that, let me say this, backing up. I always thought the American people were much more ready for Madam President than the Congress was for Madam Speaker, because it is a marble ceiling. It's not a glass ceiling, it's a marble ceiling. But campaigns are campaigns, and you have to go out there and make the case. I think Hillary Clinton was, just going first place, the most qualified person of the generation, certainly more qualified than the creature that is there now. So, but it was just a question of getting people, I guess, used to the idea a woman could be commander-in-chief.
Do you think you'll see it in your lifetime?
Well, not in my lifetime, because I'm old, but it will come sometime. It will come soon. There's just no question about it.
We'll see what she means when she says soon there. No, I've written a book about this topic, and it's fascinating to hear her praise Hillary Clinton. She later praised Vice President Kamala Harris, saying that the party would have lost more seats if Harris wasn't the one leading the Democratic ticket, praising her work there as well. But I think Pelosi is right, according to my research and work in this space, too. The more women who run, the more easy it is, or the easier it is, for Americans to get used to voting for women, seeing them in top leadership positions. And frankly, that is a huge part of Pelosi's legacy as well, even as she talks about it as breaking a marble ceiling in Congress. The fact that she's done it means that there is a bigger pathway for more women to rise to that highest spot in Congress as well. Really important to hear her reflecting on that as we end Women's History Month as well. And as for President Biden, the two, of course, had long shared a close relationship until on Morning Joe in 2024. Pelosi made comments that became an inflection point in Biden dropping his re-election bid and ultimately straining their relationship. I asked about that. I wonder if you factor in the way that Biden's campaign ended when you think about your own legacy. I think that many people credit you or blame you for the way that that campaign ended.
Well, I don't know. How can I say this in a nice way? The Biden administration accomplished great things. People compared him to LBJ in terms of the amount of and the quality and quantity of accomplishments. Only thing I asked the president to do were two things. I get more credit or blame than I deserve, and that is that I wanted him to have other posters at the table than just listening to one, and B, I wanted him to assure the public that he could serve the term. They didn't agree with that, and so he then decided to step aside. It was his decision. Rather than talking about that, I'd rather talk about Kamala Harris. She was just, it happened so fast. She ran a great campaign. She turned out so many more people than who would have voted. I think she doesn't deserve enough credit for what the outcome of the election in terms of, we would have lost probably 14 seats in that election if she had not been the candidate.
Have you and Biden spoken?
Yes, we have. Mm-hmm.
Did he call you when you retired?
But it'll be up to him to tell people when we spoke.
And so, of course, I did make some phone calls after speaking with Speaker Emerita Pelosi, and I'm actually told that former President Biden and the former Speaker have had lunch recently. Interesting to see that relationship be patched up as they are both in the twilight of their political careers. And just reflecting on my own time being spent with her, we went from a room in Annapolis where Pelosi herself was having her career celebrated. She, of course, is finishing out her final term in Congress, having announced her retirement several months ago. But the fact that she is still so focused on being in the fight, we spoke about concerns she has about the midterm elections, plans that Democrats are making to ensure that they are on effectively the up and up and that nothing can be tampered with. I asked her about the potential for ICE being at the polls or the Supreme Court changing the rules around mail-in balloting. And she assured me that even though Democrats are concerned, they have a plan for how to counter those measures and ensure that people can still access their ballots and their rights to vote fairly. She also told me she has no concerns when it comes to Democrats being able to flip the chamber, pointing to Hakeem Jeffries as a strong leader, even as I asked about criticism that he and her longtime colleague Chuck Schumer have gotten from the Democratic base as they just want to see more. Pelosi instead said the message will be strong and it will have a contrast from Republicans. I also asked, and we will play this clip later on Morning Joe as you see more of this interview, but I asked about the ways that many people see Congress as broken. And Pelosi actually said that this institution that she has molded and that has molded her is not irretrievable. But she did blame Speaker Mike Johnson for effectively diminishing the role of a speaker and relinquishing so much power to President Trump. Again, this was wide-ranging, a lot of news, and so much that I found interesting. We are, of course, going to have more of this interview with Congresswoman Pelosi coming up on Morning Joe, and the full interview is going to be available on YouTube if you want to spend some time with it there, too.